New cutting board. It's bigger and bigger. Not gonna say better because I still like my old cutting board, but this is bigger, so more room. Now let's talk about dumplings. Now, I've seen dumplings done different ways. People add cabbage. A lot of people add cabbage. I'm not gonna add cabbage to mine because I don't care for it. But you can add cabbage if you want. Dill. Seen people add dill. These are very versatile, so you can do whatever you want. I'm adding green onion to mine. You can use the green part and the white part, but I'm not going to use all these. I'm just going to cut it up because I'll use some of it later. Then I'm going to cut up some garlic, add some garlic to it because garlic is great, and you add garlic to pretty much everything, and it enhances it. Plus, if you've seen The Lost Boys, you know that it keeps vampires away, and that's a good thing. Once I have everything prepped, then I start putting it together. To my pork, I add garlic, green onions, some ginger, also some oyster sauce, which I find delicious. You're also going to add some sesame oil. Now, a little bit goes a long way with that, so be careful. Some hoisin sauce. Now, that adds some sweetness and some black pepper. You probably don't need any salt with all the salt content in the sauces that you added. I find it very important to taste your meat before you. Okay, that sounded bad. Just take a small piece, fry it up, so you know if you need to adjust any flavoring or seasonings. I added fish sauce and some ginger powder because I felt that's what it needed. And now it's time to make the dumpling wrappers. Now I'm really bad at following recipes or measuring things. I tend to fly by the seat of my pants. That's just what I do. So I added some flour, some salt, and some hot water. Some people don't add salt. I do because I don't want bland wrappers. That's just me. Now I add water little by little because if you add too much water, you can't take it out. You end up having to add more flour, and you'll probably end up with a double batch of dumpling wrappers and not enough dumpling mix. And what you gonna put in those wrappers? Nothing. Once you have your dough the way you like it, then you pour it out onto a floured surface, and then you just start kneading it, and then you knead it some more, and then maybe knead it some more. And you just keep kneading until it basically stops being sticky and becomes what they call supple. A good way to tell that is if you stick your finger into it and it bounces back on you. Boop, boop. Once you have your supple dough, then you wrap it in plastic wrap and let it sit for about a half an hour. After that half an hour, get your dough surface ready with some flour, unwrap that out of the plastic wrap, and then you take your dough cutter or whatever you're using to cut your dough, and you cut it however you want. Me personally, I cut it into fours, and it's easier to work that way. That way you can work one piece at a time. Wrap the other ones up so they don't dry out on you. Again, you can do yours any way you'd like. I ended up rolling mine out to the size of a really long thumb and then cutting it into 6 pieces when I probably should have cut it into 8 pieces. Then my dumplings probably wouldn't have been the size of a small Nerf football. Then you take your small piece, roll it into a ball, and then you can roll it out with your rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, then you can use a wine bottle or anything like that wrapped in saran wrap and floured. It really doesn't have to be a perfect circle, as you can see. Then you take your water and you wet the edges because that's where you're going to seal it. Oh, yay, you get to see me struggle. So you take your pork mixture and you place it in the middle of the dumpling, and then you try your damnness to seal those edges. Now, actually, sealing the edges isn't that bad because of the water that you put on the edge, but making them look pretty with those crimps, that's not as easy. They make it look really easy on TV because they've been doing it for a long time. This was my first time doing it, and I struggled. But the good thing about this is it's what's on the inside that counts, right? And that's going to have to do. So you get your pan going and you get some olive oil in there, get that nice and hot. And then you get your most presentable dumplings to make it look like you actually know what you're doing. Then you get that down there, get a nice hard sear on there. Once you get a nice hard sear on that, then you get your water in there to get a steam going. And you put the lid on so you can get those cooked. While those are steaming, you can make a nice little dipping sauce. If you just want to use soy, that's perfectly fine. Some people do that. I added hoisin in mine because it adds a little sweetness and it plays off of that sweet and salty feel that I like. And then I realized that I want something else, so I added some sweet chili sauce and then some of the green onions. Once these are done steaming, then you can take them out and plate them up. When you plate them, make sure that you plate them with the bottom side up. Make sure that that hard sear is exposed. I mean, we don't want the steam to make them soggy now, do we? Now this is the sound I was looking for on the bottom of my pot stickers. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you try these because they were really good. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos, and I will see you next time.